Gin Mule.
Ooh, Gin Mule. Well,
I'm
hello.
drinking.
Everybody, welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. I do not have a Gin Mule, but I love some ginger beer. How is my co-host, Phil? And how did you enjoy the Survivor Season 42 finale?
I'm doing great. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a great final episode, a great final five. Um, the reunion, whatever. But the show, I loved. The show, I liked. So.
Well, did you love that at the very beginning of the episode, we have Jeff Probst explaining to us what's going to go down in this game and how we're supposed to feel. Like, I actually turned to Jojo. So Jojo and I went to watch it with some other people in Toronto at like a little bar or pub. And
Right.
you know, we were around other people, and I turned to Jojo and I was like, does he think we're dumb? Like, he's like, you know, it's a final five and we're going to have to choose between this and that. Are you going to take this person on? They're going to be going on the jury. Like, explaining things that are the basics of Survivor. Who's he explaining it to? Please enlighten me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the game hasn't changed that much. I know he's changed it a bit, but I mean, season 42, we know how it works. Somebody's going to win. They're going to get voted to win. And you have to make those tough choices of who to sit beside.
Right? Like, it's kind of
Which
like...
you have to do the whole game.
He just makes it seem like he's always trying to make people love the game, right? It's like he's always trying to sell what's so great about the game. And, you know, even in any of the tribal councils, he's always like, and like, you know, it's, then you have to do this, then you have to do that. Can you believe it? What's going on for you right now? Like, how are you feeling? And like, it's, I can't put my finger on what it is, but it's like he doesn't let people enjoy the show how they want to enjoy it. He needs to make sure that you are enjoying it how he intends for you to enjoy it.
And that's the one part that I'm happy that we don't have the live reunion, because those were getting really to the point where Jeff was just like controlling the whole reunion and how it works and what we're going to talk about. Like before, in the old days when they had somebody else hosting it before Jeff, like they got down into the dirt sometimes, and the dirt's not really that dirty. I mean, it was weird. What I don't like about the reunion is not the reunion. This new way of doing it is not, you don't really, because they haven't watched it, so you don't really they haven't seen the season back, and you don't know what they're feeling about the show. They're all like right in it, and so they're not really thinking about the whole 25 days. They're thinking about that night, and so they're not really like in it, and so they don't really talk about anything. Like it was weird. Like, I want to hear more about the show. I want to hear about that tie and what they were thinking about when it almost went to rocks. And I want to, you know, like, I don't know.
Well, I 100% agree with you. And then I read an article that Jeff Probst is like, the live tribals right after the finale is here to stay, because I love seeing the raw emotions from the player that they're just out of the game and then somebody wins. And okay, yes, the immediate, like reading the votes there, I'm fine with that. You don't have to wait 3 months to 4 months, whatever, to read the votes live. That's fine. But you can have a mini reunion, like a mini discussion, and then have a full reunion after everybody watches the season, where everybody has eaten, everybody gets their hair and makeup done, they all get together, you see the people that were the pre-jury, and then we can just have like a nice little discussion and a celebration of the show, and people will have an opportunity to have reflected on their experience. Like I've said it a couple times, I really want to know how Lindsay felt when she sees that she touched the idol that I think won Marianne the game. I think that she touched that. I want to know how she feels seeing that and seeing how close she was and hearing like what she feeling like, oh, she should still look more. Like I wanted to know what she was feeling in that particular moment. And so there's many other instances like that happen throughout the episode, the season, that I would love to hear a reflection on after viewing. And we're never getting that again, it seems.
And you do develop at least some sort of opinions on the ones that go before jury, and it would be nice to sort of wrap it up with them. But who knows? Whatever. But the show, the start, the only thing I paid attention to when Jeff was talking was, I hope he gets a haircut for the next season because he needs a haircut.
You messaged me that, I think. We can only hope. We have Danielle hanging out with here today. The show was great. Yes, totally agree. Jeff was loving the camera this episode, even during the challenge. He's staring at the cameras by tailoring to the players. It was weird. Talking to the players. Sorry, it was weird. Yeah. I think that he wants to be on Survivor so badly that he's just trying to get in there any way that he can. Like, maybe he should just create a season of hosts or something where he could play. I don't know. But I think he's not able to look at the game like a fan anymore, but he thinks that he's like the ultimate fan. And he's kind of lost sight of reality a little bit. And haircut. Hi, Diva. Thank you for being here. So Danielle says Marianne was my winner pick, first time ever. My pick won. Well, congratulations. With our draft, I did not have anybody left. I had all my amulets and idols and extra votes on Drea. And Drea was unable to take home the win. So I did not win. I believe JoJo had Marianne and is winning our draft this time around. Phil had a good run. He had Mike and Omar and Jonathan pretty much left for the last couple episodes.
And somebody else. I did have somebody else. I did have a female.
At some point, but
don't come at me. I did have a
who was the fourth?
But I don't remember who it was. They went early. They must have gone early. So.
Roxroy and Romeo were never drafted. I can take a look at your list.
Hey, look at that. The group almost won with Romeo. Look out.
Right? Oh my God. The audience might have taken the win from us. Hello, Sophie. How are you? So Danielle says they should announce the winner and then do a live reunion. Sure. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. Just to we see their raw emotions and then coming to you live to talk to the winner. Because they can't even talk about being the winner with their friends and family yet. So that would be amazing for the friends and family to get that experience of seeing them all dressed up and sharing the win with everybody. I think that there's a lost opportunity. I love seeing everybody dressed up. I love seeing everybody having an opportunity to reflect. So I think you're onto something, Danielle, but I don't think that they're going to listen to you. I agree, Sophie. The season did seem to go by quickly.
Almost
Marianne and Zach are dating. I saw a picture of them together. Say that again? What?
I said almost as fast as the season itself.
What do you mean? 26
well, the
days?
season's only 26 days now.
It is really fast. And I think I know Jeff, he keeps ask. I think he asked Drea this time. No, he asked Chanel this time. How bad is it? Not having any rice. It's really bad, isn't it? It's well, they don't really have anything to gauge it off of. It looks bad when you're sitting at home and it looks bad at 40, 39 days when you're sitting at home. Yeah, but I really want to see some of those seasons when you see them shivering and shaking because it's rained for 7 days straight and they're all pruny and they haven't eaten. I've seen those seasons where I'm ugh, that takes a lot of willpower. Ooh. Yes, they've had a couple of days of that, but I still do not think it is as challenging as past seasons have been. No. Day 26? No. Come on. That's the halfway point. Zach's post was so funny that he wasn't going to sign a prenup. I did see that post. I don't know if are they actually dating or is that just you're teasing? Just because there's a picture of them together.
I don't know. He's been teasing all season. So, but I think they've got at least a really good friendship between the two of them. So.
Well, we will see. We'll see. I'm hoping I'm gonna ask Marianne if she wants to chat with me about the season. So maybe I can ask her that question. I mean, she's in Ontario. Let's just let's talk to another Canadian. So I'm
That's
gonna see
right.
if she'll come on and chat with me. So stay tuned. If she does, I'll definitely put out a lot of like posters and like make it like a big deal so that people can come and support. I don't know if I'd do a live. It depends on what she's able to do contractually, or if I do like a pre-recorded interview. But I am going to reach out to Marianne and ask her to chat with me. So hopefully that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. That should be fun. I did like in the beginning how they did their player montages. They used to in the past have the walk around with the fire and remember everybody. They kind of did that a little bit with each of the players left in the game, just talking about like what they want to do to win, what it's going to take for them. Romeo is the only one I wrote down. It's like, I'm going to be Mr. Survivor. And I'm kind of like, I'm happy for you, Romeo, but I do see you as a zero vote violinist. I did see him at that point there. I felt bad though.
Yeah, I felt bad, but I do think that he should be really happy that, you know what, he did get that last immunity challenge. He did make a good move at that point. Not for him. I don't think he had any chance of winning, but at least at the end, I think they even addressed this on the thing. He was sort of more on an upswing than being known as just the guy that ate all the rice on them and had no strategy and no plan. At least he gets some positives to him. Mm-hmm. He was an interesting character at the end of the day a bit. I didn't quite get him, but it comes from a different world, I think, with the pageant world and helping them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know him a little bit better in like him being in his real life. I don't know if Survivor is the game for him personally. No. I did appreciate the fact that he learned to swim right before coming on the season. So I was like, I know how to swim, and like that does scare me, the whole swimming portion of Survivor. So I guess like if he could do it and not have just learned how to swim, and like I've swam my whole life, it won't be that like terrifying. So that gave me actually hope, because I was like, I don't know if I want to go out and Survivor and drown. That'd be the worst. Yeah. So that gave me some hope. No, I know I wouldn't. So day 23 is where they're at, and they're going to have to find a new beach. I don't know if I like that either. Like, do you like that whole idea of them, like, now they don't have a shelter, they don't have a fire, they have to start from scratch 3 days before the end of the season? Like, do we need that?
I don't know if we need that in the final episode. Like, it's like time filler, but you know what? If you could extend the final 5, because that's the strategy one, right? That's where you really get into there. Because the final 4, you try and can kind of guess what they're going to do. But final 5, that's the big one.
The last one.
They could have stretched that out. Game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think it affected them in any real way. Like really.
So Marianne does get a confessional saying that she feels like she actually has a chance to win this game. And I was like, I just took note of that. I was like, okay, let's see what's going on here. For them to keep that in, is it going to be for a win, or is it going to be egg on the face? Right. And from what her previous episode, it seemed like that was a part of the winning edit to me. Her saying that just from like her upward trajectory, I was like, it's looking good for Marianne with this edit. So Jonathan and Lindsay are both going after each other, and like they're lying to, like, it was just actually, what I didn't understand is they both had opportunities to take each other out a little bit sooner, and they both didn't go for that. And so the fact that they're all of a sudden just completely against each other and they're so angry at each other. And I do understand Jonathan's pissed off because she voted him out with Omar, and she's pissed off because Jonathan voted out Omar and didn't tell her what the plan was. So who do you think is maybe right or more right in the situation? Or who are you rooting for, or how'd you feel about it?
Oh, God. Well, who am I rooting for? Lindsay.
Yes.
But and I mean,
that's the correct answer.
This season, my draft picks went out the window like quite early. I was like, I know who I'm cheering for and who really. But from what she was saying, if it was me, I probably would have laughed in her face and said, you're not making any sense here, because you're saying that if we had told you that it was Omar, you would have jumped on that, but you still went ahead and voted me. Like, I don't buy, like I think her and Omar, they seem very tight. And, they made no sense for her, especially because we knew she had that idol and they knew she had the idol. There was no reason to tell her because she could have messed it up. So I think Lindsay, it wasn't the right way to go about it. I think she needed to find some way to clear the air with Jonathan, because watching this episode, I'm not sure Jonathan would have got many votes. Like, yeah, he had a couple challenges, but
He would have
Lindsay
Mike's vote.
pretty much had the same amount. But his attitude and just some of the things he was saying, I was just like, I don't know. And why did he keep calling him Mr. Jeff this episode?
He's the whole season he's been doing that. You never noticed that? That's a whole season
I did
thing.
not even notice. I didn't even
Whole
notice.
season, Mr. Jeff,
I don't
Jeff,
get it.
whole season. And Jeff is just like, I love it. Like, he's
Ozzy, now come.
Right? He just, oh my God, I love you, Jonathan. So did you like how Jonathan was like, I would hear you, but you're just acting so aggressive?
No.
It's like,
no, his reaction was to be, it's the final five, and you got to be open. You got to look at who you need to be there up against. And, that I don't know. I think Lindsay was the right person to go for at 5 because she did have friends on the jury, but I don't know. It obviously didn't work out for Jonathan. So, I think they underestimated some people.
So I wrote, this is exactly what I wrote down. Romeo saying he has an idol with an ugly bracelet. So he didn't make a bracelet that like he was going to pretend like he had an idol. And obviously I love an attempt at something, but it was way too late for that to do anything. And the fact that he didn't see that him being a target was long gone now. Like, he made it to the point where he gets dragged to the end because unfortunately he's not somebody that they're worried about losing against. So the fact that he was making an idol when everybody's taking him to the end, I thought was
just shows how much he didn't get the game. Yeah, he did not get it. Like, he did not know what his position was. And like Romeo, that's like if he held that up, right? Like, oh, look at this thing. You'd be, that's cute, but you're really not going anywhere anyway. So
you're good. Right? You're getting to final 3 no matter what. Start figuring out how you can win. But you're going again. So Danielle, yes, 2 Canadian females win back to back. I heard no Canadians on 43, and they're done with us. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, well, maybe 43 and 44, no Canadians, just because like we won back to back. And then maybe I can go and play 45 and it'll be a back to normal season. Actually, maybe I want to play 46.
What this should do, though, is whoever is in productions in Canada, they should go, wait, we're on to something here. We should do a Canadian version of Survivor. Like, that's what should happen, right? Like, now, like, look, Canadians can play. We're good. Now, let's do a Canadian one and, let the Americans have theirs.
But, like,
we'll keep watching.
I would just be so embarrassed if the prize was $100,000.
Well, I think it wouldn't even be that. I think it'd be gift certificates to the Brick and Wendy's. I'm all in.
Wendy's for a year? It's too embarrassing. I think Lindsay got tunnel vision with Jonathan. Well, she needed a voice of reason. I mean, she 100% needed to play her idol, like her amulet, on Omar. I heard that they were saying that they didn't want people to appear that they're so close. At this point, it doesn't matter. Be safe and appear close. Like, who cares? You were on the same tribe from the very beginning. There's 4 of you from the same tribe. Like, people are going to expect that you're decently close or closer than you are with Mike or Romeo. So I thought that was a terrible mistake, and just even reframing it, like it wasn't a good move. It was actually your game losing move 100%, Lindsay.
For Lindsay, because honestly, what would have happened would have been Omar probably would have got the target at 5. So Lindsay would have been in 4, and Lindsay had a good chance to win that final challenge. And if not, she probably would have had a great chance with the fire. So she messed it. She should have played that amulet. And they're all saying like she could have played it. And I kind of feel like she probably could have done something, like, because she had immunity and that amulet. She could have figured something out.
Yeah, like we were talking about last week, I believe. We're just like, well, if she had to use it on herself, give Omar the necklace and you play the amulet for yourself. Just make sure that you guys are both safe when you have the trinket.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like no matter what, I would never go home with an idol in my pocket on Survivor. I just would never do that. I don't care if I play it wrong, but I would rather play it just in case or play it for somebody that I wanted to save and make a move.
Yeah.
You know? I would never, ever, 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 ever do that. So Mike's is okay. So Lindsay's talking to Mike about having like, you know, her wanting him to maybe help her out and work with her. And Mike is, did you watch any of Big Brother Canada this season?
Just bits.
Okay, well, there's this one French Canadian man, Marty, who anytime he was in power or he would say, like, oh, just kick your feet up. You have no worries, no problem. Kick your feet up. You can relax. And every single person he said that to definitely ended up on the block, and many of them ended up going home. So I feel like Mike saying that he's loyal to you and I may use this idol on you, Lindsay, is basically like kick your feet up because he will definitely stab you in the back. So what do you think about Mike's gameplay and the fact that he thinks he's super loyal and I think he's really disloyal?
I think when we saw him with Marianne and then we saw here with Lindsay, it was like, okay, we know what the narrative is going to be here for Mike. Like, I think we've been feeling it, but like this episode at the very beginning and with Mike, it was like, okay, Mike is going to be drugged if he gets to the end because they're going to call him out on integrity, and it really appears Mike doesn't feel he's playing a sneaky game. It feels like Mike thinks that he's being, and I was blown away with his answers when he brought up like the Roxroy thing, which I was like, that wasn't even a thing. Like to people, like there was a lot more that you did. And it was more recent. So yeah, he needed to own it. I think from what people were saying, he had a very good chance to win if he had owned it. And he's one of those Terry Dietz, Andrew Savage like mentality players where it's like, I'm a coach, like what my way is the right way, and you know, and it's hard to get out of that head.
And a lot of people in Australian Survivor play like that, and they get so mad when people are strategic about anything, and you have to be loyal, and you have to be honorable and trustworthy, and all this stuff. It's so tiring, and it's like you're trying to outwit somebody. You don't necessarily have to. When you outwit them, it doesn't say with integrity. Like it just says outwit. Right. It says outplay. It doesn't say make sure you do it with integrity and loyalty and keeping your word. It just says outplay, and outlast is obviously self-explanatory. So I don't know where people read in the rules that integrity and loyalty is something that needs to be honored in the game.
Right.
You know,
I think he struggled with that because obviously he's watched Survivor. He said he's watched every episode and from season 1.
That's 21 years.
I think it is his life, his job, what's gone through his mind. They have this trouble. We see that sometimes with people that are like police officers, firemen, army. They have this mentality of with your coworkers, like you have to give truth and honesty, and that's understandable. But like as a fan of the show, you know that there's lying, and he was saying, I've got to lie, but I don't know. He just didn't equate his lies to being deceptive to other people. He just looked at them as part of the game.
Like if he's telling the truth when he said it, he thinks that means that he was keeping his word.
Right.
So I agree with you, Danielle. If Mike had owned his game and apologized and been like, listen, like I do believe in trust, honor, and integrity. And when I was making any of these deals or shaking anybody's hands in that moment, I meant it. But sometimes I heard other things that swayed my opinion, and I felt it was better for my game to change my mind. And I'm really sorry that I did this to you guys. I do love you, care about you, whatever. But like, yes, for my own game, I had to break some of my promises because I thought it would help me do better. Something like that. And I think that people would have respected that. But the fact that he still was preaching honesty, integrity, I'm such a loyal, integrous guy, like integral guy. Yeah. He lost the votes that way.
I do also think, like, I want to give credit to Marianne. I do think that was a very strong tribal council. Like, that is a lesson for people going on Survivor. Watch Marianne's tribal council, because she had opportunities to drop bombs throughout the game, but she held on to them until the end to do that. Wow. And those strategic Survivor fan lovers on the jury, they're going to be like, whoa, and it's all in the moment and it can sway you. And I do think that Marianne really earned the $1 million or this from that final tribal council. Like, she from the game she did, but that final tribal was brilliant.
Definitely. We're going to get a little bit deeper in there shortly, but I totally agree with you. Her final tribal council performance was a game-winning performance. $1,000,000%. $1 million percent. So they go and get they all get these riddles, and it's a pretty basic word riddle, and the only one that's able to figure it out is Lindsay. And so Marianne is allowing Lindsay to go and get whatever this advantage may be, while Mike, Jonathan, and Romeo and herself, like, she just let them try to figure it out. It wasn't hard at all. And Lindsay at least was out looking for this for 45 minutes, or 40 minutes for sure, she said. And it seemed like she was almost about to give up. And then she kind of saw where, like, the base of the foot. Did I write down what it was called? I don't know, something about the base of the foot of the blah, 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 the giant. You'll find the clue. And so eventually she does find this clue or this advantage. And I was just really shocked. Like, Romeo, maybe English is his second language. I'm not 100% sure of his background, but I would think that Mike and Jonathan would be definitely able to figure out these grade 3 level word problems.
And what was the sleeping was the word that they were
they couldn't figure that. They're sing bells. Like, I was just like, like, when you see an ing, just get the ing out of the way. That's
on the end.
And then if you can't figure out what, like, LESEP is, like, we got a problem.
You need more rice.
Yeah, maybe Jonathan does. He's lost so much weight. Like, he needs more rice so he can have brain power. Man, oh man, oh man. Hi, Doris. So says Mike should have known better as a fan of the show. He should have known that game respects game. But when you dairy, what does dairy mean? When you dairy what you're doing, it just gets him upset. Deny. Oh, am I just my eyes not wearing glasses? It looks like dairy. Not deny, but I can see deny now. Got you. So when you deny what you're doing, yes, it's going to get him upset. Absolutely. It's like he's so frustrating because he would just flip on you right away when he hears that you might be doing something without him, or when, you know, you might be doing something for your own game. But then he just, like, stabs you in the back, and they didn't necessarily stab him in the back. They just maybe had conversations with people. So he's a little bit of a hypocrite, unfortunately. Sorry. She's the only person to keep an idol a secret in a long time. Yes, make it be a lesson to everybody. If you want to win,
keep
your mouth shut.
Don't tell your friend. If you've got a family member, don't tell anybody. Anybody. You got the idol. Make it work for you.
That's what happened to Drea. As soon as she told somebody about the knowledge and power advantage, she's done. So that definitely should be a lesson to anybody playing, is if Survivor allows you to keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut. Quiet. So what should we call it? So we get to the immunity challenge, and Lindsay reads out what her advantage is, and that she only has to untie 1 knot and everybody else has to untie 6 knots. So this immunity challenge, it's kind of like an obstacle course where there's different elements that you have to complete and retrieve these puzzle piece bags. So this is a great advantage, 1 knot versus 6 knots. I thought that was a really lucky advantage. We saw that last season when Erica received this advantage. it really helped her win the game. She got, I believe, 4 rungs. She didn't have to bring down 4 rungs, and then twice she didn't have to put the 4 ladder rungs down on the stairs. So she definitely, I think her advantage was a lot stronger than Lindsay's advantage, but I think that this was still a pretty decent advantage.
I do have to say, when I saw what the challenge was at this one, and especially the next one, I just was like, you know what? This takes me to other seasons, which is great, but like this is happening a lot. Like with towards the end of the game, like it just feels like they need to watch another show, another Survivor, and get some ideas, because we need some new challenges. Like they're great challenges and they're very like sentimental, but if we're moving forward these next 2 seasons, like this season 41, 42, like we're moving forward, let's get a couple new challenges. That would be really fun to watch.
It would be. Instead of like introducing advantages, like maybe have the team work on new challenges. That could be fun.
Yeah. Or even go, if you want to be nostalgic, go back and do something that you haven't done before
in 20 years
again,
as opposed
like a
to
second time. Yeah.
5 years.
There's been great challenges, but I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're also going to be playing for food. So the winner will receive pasta, garlic bread, red wine, and cake. So do you think that this is a good reward? Pasta? I don't know if I would want pasta. I feel like I would have like a block in my stomach if I haven't had like those type of carbs in 26 days or maybe even longer. I don't know if I want that.
It's better than the cookies.
Better than the cookies. Better than the cookies. You are correct. So I thought this was like a pretty fun, though. I know that you said it was something that's similar that we've done before, but
it was a great challenge.
Did like the different elements to it. I liked that it seemed to end up being an equalizer because they had to build a bridge and with some slats. And Lindsay wasn't very good at this. She kept on falling and dropping her slats and having to start over again, insofar as she lost her entire lead that she had from being able to untie all these knots. And so I don't know who got there first, but there was an equalizer puzzle with all the bags that they had to collect. And it was a typical Survivor puzzle where it was kind of vertical, like round puzzle. It wasn't a tree, but it was like kind of like an
round,
emblem.
Yeah, a round symbol. Yeah. It's a great puzzle.
Yes, great puzzle for sure. And so we know Lindsay's pretty good at puzzles. We know that Jonathan's most likely not good at puzzles. Mike, I'm not really sure how he's at puzzles. I was expecting Marianne to be decent at puzzles. So once everybody was working on the puzzle, I was expecting it to be between Marianne and Lindsay. But out of nowhere, Mike takes this win. And this was a big upset. I really, really wanted Lindsay to win this one. And I'm obviously happy for anybody that wins because I know that they probably really want it. But it was an upset for me.
Yeah. I could feel a lot of people going, well, how close it got. Because it was one piece and she was putting that piece in. Like, I mean, it was very close. And that was a great finish for the show to watch that. And I know a lot of people were hoping that Lindsay could at least pull it off for one more. She's done a great job this season. Like, she was a good character, considering we didn't really get to know tons about her at the beginning. She developed into a really good. She's coming back. I'll be shocked if she doesn't get asked back.
She's like this new Stephanie LaGrossa. You know what I mean? Like, she's just like a strong, maybe even a poverty. But she doesn't have like the flirtiness of poverty, but just like somebody that they're physically going to be able to perform well in these challenges. And it seems like what Jeff really values. He loves people that are good at challenges. He loves people that can dig deep and pull out the win. So I definitely see her being someone that is asked back just to fill in that like amazingly strong female competitor that had a shot at winning, but she made a couple of mistakes at the end. So I think she could come back and pull off a win. I do think she has that in her. So Mike is bleeding. Obviously, we got to zoom in on the blood dripping down his leg. And, he's very excited because for 21 years, he's been watching the show and he finally gets to have an immunity necklace around his neck. And lucky him, he gets to take somebody with him on his food reward portion of this. What did you think about the fact that he took Jonathan? Jonathan, he weighs over 250 pounds and he's lost so much weight since he's been on Survivor, takes him for the pasta feast.
It's tough to say because because we know Mike has the idol, right? And so he's in and he's doing really what Lindsay should and Omar should have done the round before. Like he's going to play it on his number one, and they're keeping the food with them. I mean, for Jonathan's sake, it might have made more sense for Mike to try and convince Romeo or Marianne to do some strategy talking, but at the end of the day, like for something for the future, for like the final three, be like, I'm using it on Jonathan, but do you want to try and do a final three here with Romeo or something? But yeah, it probably was I just don't see him making any other choice but Jonathan. So what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I agree that they had this like whole boys club thing near the end for sure. Like they're kind of solidifying it, telling each other a lot. You see that they really were supporting each other and wanting to work together and take each other to the end. It seems like, okay, bro, we'll take each other to the end. Like, which I think always is dumb, because if you think that other person can beat you, why are you taking them to the end? But whatever, everybody plays the game a little bit differently. I just thought that you still may want to win the next challenge. Like, why would you want to give the physical guy, you don't know what the challenge is going to be, an opportunity to gain some strength and gain some, nutrients? Like, I would just never do that. I would be taking Romeo because I would be least threatened by Romeo. But then I would be maybe a little bit wary of leaving the 3 taco people together. So there's that as well. So I don't know if he made the right or wrong decision, but I just don't think I would have chosen Jonathan. Maybe it's because I'm not a fan of him. I don't know, but I just wouldn't have chosen Jonathan.
Yeah. I wouldn't have chosen Jonathan.
Did Jonathan even have knots? Like, I don't know, like how he untied those knots so quickly. I didn't really see anybody
conspiracy.
That much. I mean,
Diva's got a conspiracy theory.
They love him so much. I wouldn't be surprised. Diva says she wouldn't mind a season of Second Chances with Lindsay Andrew. Absolutely. There's actually and Omar even. Quite a few people that I'd like to see again as well. A lot of people, some pre-merge people like Jenny I'd like to see again, even Daniel maybe. So this season did have some games that I'd like to see again and maybe improve. So Dory says, I thought that it was nice that he took Jonathan. Apparently Jonathan said in an interview that he fainted. So maybe he saw that he was weak and wanted to just be a nice guy. I mean, it's kind of great if he's not in the game anymore. So I don't know. I would let the medic deal with him, his nutrients.
You're so cold, Chantele. You're so cold. Kick him while he's down.
I didn't say kick, but I would just be like, can you deal with this, please? Thanks. I got to go win a game. So they actually want to be taking Lindsay out. And there's no surprise. Lindsay is the biggest challenge threat. I do think she's the biggest threat at this point to win the game, maybe next to Mike. And so she's very capable of winning immunity. So yes, I understand Lindsay being the target here. I'm just annoyed that these 2 big alpha guys are throwing down, eating food, and wanting to take out, an alpha woman that's been doing very well physically. So I was annoyed, obviously. So Marianne is talking to Lindsay, and they're kind of both talking about Lindsay really wants to stay, obviously. Marianne's like, I want you to stay as well. Lindsay's like, well, Mike said that he may use his idol on me, and then Marianne tells him well, Mike also says that he may use his idol on me. And I'm just wondering, is Mike going to use his idol on anybody other than Jonathan?
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be on Jonathan, just to be save him. But
100% thought that, because we know that he has unity, so he has a free idol that he could use on anybody. And I was like, at that dinner, I was like, yeah, 100% he's using that on Jonathan. And then that's when I started to think, I'm like, well, even if he does use it on Jonathan, I'm like, then Marianne could use it on Lindsay. She'd be safe for sure. And then Romeo would go home. I'm like, Romeo can't go home. That's not the play.
Yeah,
So I'm
where's
like, that can't be
Romeo going? No. I do think that this was an opportunity for Mike to at least finesse Lindsay's vote a little bit for the end. Like, I do think the fact that he kept on with the lie of, "Oh, well, I'll give it to you if you need it," and like he kept it going, and it was like, mm, just she doesn't have anything. She's letting you know she's got nothing, and like I don't know, it just the way how desperate Lindsay was like making it sound, and unless she was a really good actress, like it was like wow, like she really needs this. She's not safe. This is now the time to be like I can't. Like I can't take you further because you've got all these votes. You're just too good. Like those kinds of things because she felt slighted because he didn't even do anything. And then he ends up giving it to Marianne. It's like, at least just tell her what you're going to do with it. And maybe he did. We don't see everything. But
I mean, yeah, we did hear now that there was an idol nullifier that was out there. And so apparently Omar and Jonathan found this. And so remember what last week, I think it was, when I was like, wow, like when did Jonathan get such a good read on like what was going on in the game? It's like, oh, because there's information that we definitely did not see that kind of came out. Yeah, I agree with you though that Mike did not finesse anybody leaving to make anybody not feel a type of way about what he did or what he said he would do or wouldn't do. Like he definitely just let them go out mad, basically. Yeah. And I don't think that that's the play. I was also thinking in this moment as they're going to tribal, I was like, okay, well, if Mike plays an idol, then Marianne will know to play her idol for somebody else. And so that I was like, yes, I'm like, so Lindsay's going to stay for sure. The final four will be Lindsay, Marianne, Romeo, and Mike. I'm fine with that. Yeah. So that's really what I was going in there thinking what that happened. So we're in tribal, you're talking about advantages and, about like if Mike was like, if I didn't win, I'd go home. He's really high on his game. He really thinks that he is like the front runner to win. And like, not that he isn't, but like, he's a little bit cockier than he should be because he's not, it's not like by a landslide. Like he still would have to fight for some votes there, but he thinks that he's like, oh, I'm winning for sure. So they're going to be coming for me. So I needed this. And it's like, yes, but your game's not that good. You don't even know.
And it's a silly thing to point out because what if it is true and then you're at 4 and then the other 3 go, well, why would we keep this guy? Like, and then that's what ended up happening. They wanted Mike out at the 4.
So Ginger L says I should reach out to Omar too. Yes, he is in Ontario. I believe he lives in the same area as Marianne. They said Durham region, so I think they actually live from me like that way, like 45 minutes. So they're both kind of far, so it'd have to be like a Zoom or Skype streamer type thing. But I'm thinking of starting to reach out to any Canadian players that have played in a game in the States. I'm going to start with Marianne because obviously she's a fresh new winner, so I think that would be a good place to start. And then maybe after I do an interview with Marianne, then everybody else like Omar and any other Canadians that have played would be interested in coming on for a little chitty chat. So I will definitely reach out for Omar as well. Definitely going to reach out to Erica. I know that Ron has spoken to her, so I don't know if I'll get a little link up through him or if I'll just like slide into her DMs. But yes, so I'll probably go Marianne, then Erica, then Omar is probably the order that I will approach. That's my thoughts. And I'll wear the Erica headband that my friend Jojo, Jojo has. So, yes. Which is very cute. So Lindsay is feeling obviously desperate. She thinks that she's going to be going home. She doesn't have any sort of protection at all. And so I was like getting worried for Lindsay, but I was like, no, but Marianne has this secret idol, and that would be such a wow moment for her to use her idol that nobody knows about at tribal council, get all like they think they know what's going on, and like if Mike used it on her, then Jonathan's out of there. Like that would be amazing. So you were thinking this as well, right?
Yeah, in the moment I was completely thinking it. For Marianne's sake, she made the right move. Completely made the right move, I think. So.
I don't think does he. Is that where he works? I don't think he works at African Lion
I'm
Safari.
sorry.
Welcome to the animal show. That's what the commercial sounds like. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, but yeah, I'll find out where he works. I don't think that's it though. I couldn't believe Mike used his idol on Marianne. Yes. So one
Yeah,
thing though, before we get to that idol play, I was actually kind of surprised by the angle that Lindsay was taking, that she was tricked by Omar. I was tricked by Omar. I was tricked by Omar.
yeah.
That confused me a little bit. Do you think that she was just saying that for the people in the game, or does she actually feel like she was tricked by Omar?
I think that probably went back to the fight with Jonathan, and she was just trying to keep that going and being like she wasn't in on the plan, but she was. I don't know. I don't. I think she was just what's gonna stick. Is there anything that I can do to stay? She knew
And
she was in danger. Yeah.
they ask who's going home, and the answer is the fighter. And so I was like, so the fighter at this point, it's ironic that Romeo is saying it, but Lindsay is the fighter at this point. So that made it seem to me that Lindsay was the person that's going to be getting the vote. So I was like, yes, it's going to be explosive. So they all go up to vote. We see Mike take his idol out of his pants or whatever, he did something, and they all come back down. And Jeff asks if anyone has an idol, and Mike plays his idol on Marianne. Yes.
Yes.
And then wait for it. Wait for it. Marianne doesn't play the damn idol. I was actually sad. I was very sad.
Oh, I was sad because I was rooting for Lindsay, but I do think it was the smarter move.
In the end.
She
But
made.
at this moment, I did not think this.
I did in this because I thought who's going back to camp, and what the problem was Mike. If Mike felt played by Marianne, Marianne becomes Mike's number one target because Mike is so emotional. And
Mhm.
if Mike wins, he's taking Romeo and he's putting Lindsay and Marianne up in the fire making challenge. And who knows what that would have done. But I think it was a more risky road to take with Mike being mad at her because he would have been furious. We've seen how he reacts to things, and it would have been Marianne's in his crossfire. So
You have that's a good point. I was just kind of thinking that it would have just been really a powerful move, like in front of the jury, and it would have just upset everything. It would have been Mike against everybody at this point. I just felt that it just would have put Marianne in a better position in the jury's eyes at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I didn't really take into account Mike being super bitter about her doing that. So you're right. You do have to make a good point.
At the end of the day, Mike, I mean, we know what his performance in the Final Four challenge was, so I mean, it wouldn't have mattered anyways if he was mad.
Very true. Very true. How do you feel about Romeo throwing his fake idol bracelet into the fire? He's like, well, I won't be using this fake idol bracelet. I'm just going to put it into the fire. People are like, nobody asked you.
Go for it. Go for it, Romeo. Hey, baby. He did that, and the spirits were like, "Thank you. We're gonna give you immunity next. We're gonna give you a real one next."
Maybe it was part of his his spell. It was like a.
That's right.
Yeah,
the island spirits liked it.
Fiji magic.
I do have to say, I think it's wonderful that somebody like Jonathan, who the whole game, everyone in the audience has been like, "God, this guy's a beast. This guy's does so much." And at the end of the day, Lindsay is the one who is walking out of this, and then people are going, God, she's so good at the challenges, and she's so strong. Like, I mean, I think that was a great, 180 on the game, and a great thing. I really hope they bring Lindsay back because I really fell in love with her. So
they definitely will bring Lindsay back. I have no doubt. I might be in a couple of years, but I feel as though we're due for a Lindsay reappearance 100%.
Yeah.
So the next day happens and it's the final immunity challenge. And like you said, it's one that we've seen often. Is this the permanent final for immunity challenge? Is that what the thing is? Because I think even in Australia, it was at this point as well for a couple of seasons. Like,
It's
is this the new thing?
or it's this, or they make it some sort of like they did in the final five, like some sort of obstacle thing with a puzzle at the end. It's one or the other, where they usually like they'll go down a big slide and then go to like puzzle do stuff. So it's something like that to get puzzle pieces. But I don't know. I feel like they could do something else. Like I don't know. It just is it really that exciting to watch? I don't know.
It usually is a little bit more exciting when they have like 6 balls that they're going. But Mike, when they had just 1 ball going through, I don't even know if he made it through 1 full rotation of 1 ball cycling. He dropped the ball literally, and he was really upset with himself about it. He was actually even hoping that Jeff would let him just like continue again.
Right.
But Jeff's like, no, man, we're playing. This is it. You're out. Like, ugh. So Mike is out. And then I was rooting for Marianne, but I don't know if she's that coordinated. So Marianne, I believe, was out next. Then it's a showdown between David and Goliath. And David, as in Romeo, wins the final 4 immunity challenge. I was very happy for Romeo. Yeah. I think this was something for him and his journey that he's been on. I think that he really did need it at this time, just like for his own morale boost, for him to feel like he deserves to be there, for him to, his experience not to be super negative. Like, obviously being on Survivor is a plus and a positive, and it's like you're super lucky and grateful, but he didn't have that joyful of an experience. And so it was nice that he got a win here against Jonathan. That's really cool.
Yeah. Pretty it's funny because like I don't know if you feel this, but in some ways, like, he really messed up his game at the very beginning, because he seemed to have developed that strong pairing with Zach, and he should have fought for that more. Like, I think, it just that fell apart. And then he put his trust in his team, but his team was so dysfunctional, and he was so neurotic and paranoid about things that fell apart. So it's nice that he got something good in the end. I mean, I don't think it would be enough to pull off a win. Maybe a sympathy vote at most, maybe. But yeah.
Wait, what is this? I don't remember what this means. What does this mean, Danielle? She was balls to the wall. Who said that? Did Marianne say that?
Did somebody say that?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. Before that immunity challenge, though, like, we have Jeff being like, what are you drawing on for inspiration? Who do you think of? And I'm just like, why does he want to make all these moments? Like they happen, and I love Survivor for these moments happening, but I'm just kind of getting, it's a little bit stale that people come with these kind of prepared responses now, because they know that they're going to ask him for, like, so what does this feel for you? Like, tell me about how this relates to your real life and Survivor and how they link together. Like, he's just trying to create all these moments about how Survivor is transformational. And yes, it is and can be and has been, but he's just forcing it. And it's just like,
he's forcing stories that don't really, like, it's like, okay, we're on like the last day almost here. We don't need to like start new storylines at this point. It's already interesting.
I did think that it was cool, though, that he mentioned a little stat that on Survivor China, it was a project that they were making this particular challenge, and that it actually just was a project that worked well. And so I think that's really cool, that something that's come kind of a staple in the series, how it came to be, it's kind of impressive and cool. So I'm into that. I like that piece of Survivor trivia here. Okay, so everybody. So
what did you think about Marianne getting? because Marion got quite emotional about something before, about
Here?
family before.
Yes,
And
she did.
do you
Oh,
think
go
that,
ahead.
like, for this challenge, when you're like you're having to be really steady on your nerves and stuff like that, do you think like that factored in any way?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how I would perform in any of
Yeah,
these things. I mean, I've had to work as an actor and I've been a dancer my whole life and had to compete. So there is a level of concentration that I think I know how to tap into on demand, but I don't know if bringing in that emotional element right before will allow me to switch onto game mode and get into that focus zone. So I'm not sure if I could definitely see that not allowing them being focused and in game mode. Like you see always when people are about to compete, they're just like walking around, like you know what I mean? Like they're just like they're not listening to anything. They're just like pacing on their phone. They're trying to get into the zone. They're trying to get into the mindset of like blocking everything out and just getting focused on the task at hand. And I'm not sure if you introduce an emotional element to it in the beginning, if you're able to quickly, as soon as they say and go, being able to really click in and zone in on what you have to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if asking people all these emotional questions when you're out in the sun, you're starving, like if it's helpful for them to be able to do well in this particular competition, because you have to be so focused for this one. So
yeah. And
focused.
also, I would say she she didn't affect her, but in some situations that can be a real curse sort of moment with Jeff asking that, because if somebody does something like that and then the rest of the players go, "Oh, is this how they're going to act in front of the jury? Like, I need to get rid of this person because if
Mm.
they're emotional in this way, like that, they could be a threat. Like, if I'm getting the feelies from their story right
Be
now,
like,
what if we talk about this story in front of the jury?" Get
absolutely. I
rid of
mean, this is the thing. If I were going on Survivor, I don't know if they would actually end up liking me because I don't know if I would be able to be super transparent with what my actual strategy is, even in my confessionals, because I don't trust them. And I feel like they could
yeah,
easily ruin my game by what they ask other people and what they kind of disclose. So I would be a little bit cagey in my response. Maybe I'd have to figure out how to say a lot without saying anything at all. Like that might have to be my shtick. But even with that, if Jeff is asking me a question, my answer will be something that helps me in the game. Like, I'm not going to say, like, Marianne's like, she knows that her whole family's watching her do this and they're rooting for her, and that, her family are in two separate places around the world. And so knowing that they're both watching at the same time, they're together, even though they're far apart, I'd be like, that's not what I'm going to be saying here. I'm going to be saying, like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, let's do this. Like, yeah, that's probably, I'm drawing on pure fumes. Fumes.
yeah.
What was it? I think Hai said something like that. Like, I'm living on fumes and a dream or something like that. I'm like,
That's right. That's
that's,
right. That's all
I'd be
that's
always
left.
saying things like that all the time. I would never
Yeah.
bring any emotional elements into it until I'm making those final statements. They wouldn't know what was coming. They wouldn't know. Not for me, anyways. That's how I do it. So we have Romeo as the final for I was going to say head of household immunity challenge winner. So congratulations, Romeo. You're on the board for having a win. And I just assumed that he's going to be taking Marianne to the end. It just seemed like a
Yeah.
no-brainer to me. And yes, absolutely. Make the two big dudes go make fire. Now, I was worried that he might think that, it could be a big move if one of the two of them win fire. It could be flashy in front of the jury, and then they come into the final three. So I was worried that they would put Marianne in that position and then she like could go home. Like, so I was worried that they might see that, but in the end, nope. Romeo decides to take Marianne to the final three and make Mike and Jonathan do fire. What do you think about that? In the end, was what they decided. And how did you feel about when Mike was trying to convince Jonathan to make sure that Romeo made him do fire? I think that's what he was trying to make him do. And I was like, he's doing that
Yeah.
anyways, Mike. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit
Yeah.
strange. And even Jonathan saw
Yeah.
through it.
Jonathan saw through it, but it was very strange. Like, I think Mike knew he was target number one. I think he might have been Jonathan's target at this point. Um, I don't know. I'm wondering, do you think Romeo said, you know what, and I don't know if he would have won, but I'm going to go to fire, and I'm going to go against Jonathan or Mike, and he ended up, let's say he won. Do you think that could have
Not
swayed
him.
some jury votes in any way? Like, do you think they
Not
would have been
him.
like, you needed to do that, good for you, you did it? Like, do you think anybody would be saying that? Like, would Roxroy be like, yeah, like,
I mean, it was super flashy when Chris Underwood
yeah,
did it. I was irritated that he did it, but like strategy wise, like making that flashy move, making that decision, giving up your immunity to do that, it might have been impressive, but I don't know. With Romeo, I think it might have been too gimmicky. Even if he was
but
successful,
I mean, yeah, I mean, Chris provided on Edge of Extinction for all those jury members, anyways. Like, he was like one of the big providers, so that's why that also helped. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if
I don't think so.
Romeo could have done anything. Like, I
Not
don't
he
know.
would have had to done something from like Merge.
Yeah,
Merge is where his game's tanked, right? So he would have had to been working on relationships since then and making people. He was always just like staying on by the skin of his teeth, and like that people don't respect that if it doesn't come around with some gameplay. Just surviving isn't enough. We need the outwit, we need the outplay. We don't need just the outlast. And so he just wasn't a well-rounded enough player, and I don't think that him making that flashy move would be enough for people to be like, oh my God, you're such a good player. Mm-mm.
and I actually don't think he would have known how to navigate that anyways to
It's
turn it
true.
into something like that would work, because he just kept saying the same things. Like, I'm doing this to be a role model for the girls, and I made it this far, and it was like, but
Never
what did
give
you do?
up.
Yeah,
I mean, never
yeah,
give up. It's cool, but like he maybe should be on a different show. Like,
yeah.
what if there's like a show where they like lock people up in a cabin by themselves for like a long time and see how long they can survive? Like, maybe he needs to do something like that for like a never give up vibe. But
Right.
the outwit outplay, he didn't have that lockdown. He unfortunately. So before we get to that tribal council, I do have to say that Marianne is helping Jonathan make fire, which I thought was interesting. And I thought it was also interesting that Marianne is very good at making fire as well. So I think that Marianne had it in her back pocket that she would probably
Yeah.
win fire if she had to do it. And that would have also been a way that she would look impressive to the jury. So I like that she was setting herself up to go to the end, even on her own volition. So
Yeah.
good on you, Marianne. I'm happy that you know how to make fire, fire. So we're at tribal. High's face was shocked that Romeo had the idol, the necklace around him, and I was shocked too. Like I would have been like so shocked to see Romeo with that. Nobody would have expected him to get that one. So it was a nice moment for Romeo, especially from High. They're kind of frenemies, and so he definitely was like, which was great, a great moment. So Romeo is proud of himself, and everybody at this point is going to be good at making fire. So I was interested to see what was going to go down, but like I said before, it's going to be Mike versus Jonathan at making fire, and there wasn't even any real competition here. Mike was way better at making fire than Jonathan. Jonathan, they both had fire, but Mike was able to make his fire huge, while
Big.
Jonathan had like it was a fire that was going to be ongoing. So maybe what he was doing at camp, if you want a fire that's going to be lasting, like maybe he was good at making a lasting fire, but that wasn't what the task is here. It was burn the rope. And so I think that
Yeah.
he lost sight of what the intention was. It wasn't just to make a fire that
Build it.
stuck around and last. Build a big blazer and get that wick gone. So Mike wins. He earns himself a place in the final three. So our final three is going to be Romeo, Marianne, and Mike. Very unlikely three.
Yeah.
Um,
3 different tribes.
True, very true.
Yeah.
That, especially
Yeah.
when there was so many taco people for so long. That
Yeah.
is also surprising. What do you think about how Jeff made them sit down and talk for a moment before like getting rid of Jonathan? And then when Jonathan leaves, like Mr. Jeff and like letting Jonathan say like, "Oh, the tribe has spoken" or whatever. I was just like, "What's happening here? I don't like this."
Oh, it's all Jeff loves them, and they're trying to still push. Jonathan's a good guy, and I'm sure he's a good guy and everything. But I think, he got a lot of heat for that one episode, and I feel like they're trying to do some damage control because I think that they like him and they want to bring him back. Because Jonathan he gets television. He's been on some reality shows. He does get it. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know why. This episode, this finale, I just kept being like, ugh, stop with the Mr. Jeffs. Like, stop. I don't like you right now.
And
Like,
thank you for the opportunity. It's like,
yeah.
okay.
And I really liked him before the merge. I was
We
like, this
forced
guy's
ourselves to
great.
like him. We forced ourselves to like him. The signs where I stopped, when I still was like, I still like him, I think. But remember when Marianne stepped on like the tree that he was cutting and he was kind of snapped at her and we're just kind of like, okay. Like maybe Marianne was just being a little bit annoying, but like that was his true colors started to come out, And I feel like he has a little veneer that he puts on of like nice guy, but really he's not that nice of a guy. He has some ticks, I would say. So we see the jury feast, or that's the jury feast, the final 3 feasts. They have tons of food. I didn't actually see what they were eating though. I didn't write anything down. No, but they had lots of food.
Yeah.
How'd you like them show?
At that time.
Okay. Wait, how's your mule? Sorry, we have like 5 more minutes, and then you can go probably get a refill on your mule. Okay. Yeah, you'll be done at perfect timing, I think. So I enjoyed how they had the jury doing little clips on like what they're looking for in the final 3. I definitely like seeing them that way. And that's, I guess, kind of in replacement of the fire walk that I was talking about before, like where they go around and like talk about each of the fallen players. I kind of missed that fire walk, but I did like seeing the jury be like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to see from them. This is how they're going to get my vote. And I do like how they utilize some of these people that we really liked their gameplay and got to hear what they were looking for in a winner.
Yeah, I liked it because it reminded me. So they used to do the firewalk, but actually in the really early seasons, they did the firewalk, and then when the final 2 would walk to final tribal, every jury member would say something about the upcoming final tribal, and like they would say like their thoughts on, oh well, I remember them like being like, well, Rich played the game, but Kelly was like nicer, and I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight, and those kind of things. And it's like, yeah. We're getting to the mind of the jury right before they go for the final tribal. This is brilliant. This is good TV. This yes. I like.
I like it too.
Very excited.
I like it too. As long as it's not Jeff being like, so this is what we're looking for in like a winner. Like we want someone that's like has a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and we put it together. Put them like, no, we don't want that. We want what they want to see. Yeah. That's what makes it interesting, is everybody's perspective and what they deem as important. So I agree with you. I enjoyed that little kind of spin on getting juror perspectives. So we get to the final tribal, and we can kind of be a little bit loosey-goosey about this. I really felt it was Mike heavy. A lot of questions for Mike. Mike had a lot of long opportunities to speak about different things. And Marianne, for the most part, just seemed to be just smiling and like answering a couple of questions, but it didn't seem like she was getting a lot of answers out. And I was kind of getting a little bit worried that it was it was an edit now for Mike to be winning at this final tribal. How were your initial feelings about final tribal?
Yeah, I think they went a lot, and they said this at the end. They went into this probably voting for Mike if Mike told the truth. And I think they were really trying to get Mike to tell the truth, because maybe they were wanting to vote for Mike. I mean, he did seem like a nice guy, and he did seem like he did play a good game. But yeah, I think because they didn't see at that point Marianne's moves until really late in the game, I think that those long-term strategists like the whole picture, right? They like to see the whole game and how it played out. And some of them felt Marianne wasn't really doing much until towards the end. Now, Marianne, I think, came into Final Tribal with a great plan in her head of how she was going to reveal things as they happened, and you know, she didn't. She made sure to get what she needed to say into questions that weren't necessarily the right answer to that question, but she found a way to push her agenda through the questions, and that was like, it was brilliant. Oh,
Yes.
Marianne was brilliant when she revealed the idol, and you looked at them all like, and about what happened, and you're like,
I got the
they
merge
were like,
idol.
she's smart, she's making moves, she's not just some 23-year-old that coasted. Like, it's great. And
I definitely,
yeah,
I
and
love
Mike
when somebody,
didn't.
Yeah, Mike. I
Sorry,
mean,
Mike
Mike
just
never
didn't.
owned
Nothing.
anything. He,
Yeah.
like, you know, Omar was kind of imitating Mike a little bit, saying that, oh, you know, he plays with honesty and integrity until someone deceives them first, and then Mike decides to take them out, or he thinks that people deceive him first, and he decides to take them out. I do like Marianne telling her scaling fish story, so that she, from her family, she knew how to scale a fish, and so that's something that she was contributing, as well as making. Is it palm prawns? Like, what are they actually saying? I never know.
Palm fronds.
Frong, Fron.
FRAW.
Oh, AWN?
No, FRAWNS. Franz.
Palm
That's what
fronds.
I know.
Okay.
That's at least what I know it as. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was like palm
Prawns,
prawns, fronds. I was just never actually sure what people were saying. So thank you.
Yeah.
Palm
I think that's what it is.
fronds.
I'm gonna look it up while we talk.
Perfect. We learned about Romeo learning to swim and that he has a fear of heights. So I thought that was an interesting element to Romeo that I wish that we at least got to know in the game, but at least we got to know it now. So Marianne, so this is what I think.
Wait, I'm wrong. Oh. It's palm fronds. FRONDS.
Fronds. Okay. Yes.
Fronds.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
We know officially it's palm frond. Thank you. I've never known what they're actually saying there, and I never really wanted to ask anybody because I feel like I've watched 42 seasons of Survivor and they talk about palm fronds all the time, and I just never knew what it was. So, or how to spell it.
That's what I thought.
So, thank you for checking on that and also being wrong, so I don't feel that silly. Okay. Thank you. So Marianne, her moment, her mic drop, or as I've been calling it, her idol drop moment, was when she was talking about how she really wanted to use the idol that she found on Lindsay. She really almost did it. And then she realized that if she did that, she would be playing to give herself an out if she loses. She would lose most likely against Lindsay, and so then she wouldn't have to feel bad about not winning the game. And so I love the fact that she says when she decided not to use it on Lindsay, it actually opened up the door for her to have a chance to actually win the game. And I thought that was really powerful. I thought that the jury really probably connected to her story and her not feeling good enough or like that she's capable of doing any of these things. And that was a moment where, you know, to please everybody, she would use it on Lindsay because like that's what Lindsay would have wanted her to do. It would have been such a good moment, but it could have been a game losing decision for her. And so I love that she said that she gave herself a chance to win. And I thought was really powerful. And I think that that's what got her the votes. I think that moment.
Yeah.
So anything else happen? Wait, what happened? How did it go? So Lindsay and Jonathan had a moment where they thought that they were going to read the votes there. So Jonathan's like, "Does he read them? Is he going to read them here?" And Lindsay's like, "No." But they've all said their speeches, and it's happened before, obviously in 41, but they didn't know that in 41 they just went straight to reading out the votes and declaring the winner. I believe before 41, season 1 was the last season that they did that. Am I correct?
Correct.
So that's what happens this time around. They all go up to vote, and we don't see a bunch of people's, writing. We saw one M. I don't remember who wrote that, but that could be either Mike or Marianne. Who knows? And I was hoping, and so was JoJo. He was like, we were both like, I wish we got them to say their little like piece where they're holding their thing and like, oh, you played a great game, or I'm voting for the person that connected with me and with their heart. Like I would have loved to hear their reason for their vote, even if they don't show us who it is, like even when they're putting it in or something. So I was missing that element of just having that final, so I can just be guessing who they're voting for with what they're saying. I wanted that, but we didn't get it.
Yeah, usually they only do that. They don't show anybody's vote when the vote is completely like unanimous, right? Like there's one winner and one person got all the votes. But yeah, they didn't. Who voted for Mike?
Jonathan, I'm assuming.
Was it Jonathan? Okay.
I mean,
I haven't looked it up. So.
Do you think that Jonathan would have voted for Marianne? 0%.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad. I will say I am glad that Mike got a vote, because I do think that he deserves second place. So
absolutely. Maybe that's why Jonathan did it. I don't know if he has that strategic foresight to be able to realize like, oh, if I give him a vote, he'll get second place. But yes. So Jeff reads out the votes. The first one is for Marianne, I think. Then he went Mike, and then it was the rest were Marianne. So she won 8-1, or was it 7-1? 7-1, because they had an even number of jurors, I think. So Marianne from Ontario, 23-year-old. I did not think that she would have had a shot winning this game. When I originally started watching, I wasn't sure if her being so bubbly and outgoing, if that was going to maybe push people to not want to keep her around when you're, deprived of food and hangry. Like, sometimes that could frustrate people a lot, but she was able to make it to merge. She was able to stick with her Taku 4. She was able to make the moves that she needed to make near the end. And Marianne is our second Black female winner since season 4. Which is amazing, right? Was season 4?
Yeah. Season 4, 20. Well, I think it was 20 years ago.
20 years
ago. Like this month. Yeah, I think that was how it worked out. I think it was something like that. Yeah.
An unbelievable feat. So when she was 3 years old, she, her predecessor, is that the word? Won. And now she's taking on the torch. So I always wanted it to be me, but I'm very happy that Marianne is able to be a winner of Survivor. Shows us really that even the most unlikely winner or person in the beginning could end up being the winner of this game. And I really did like that. She was very unexpected, and she proved a lot of people wrong. She proved herself wrong. And I think that she came in the beginning with the intention of being a person that somebody else could look up to see on their TV screen, to know that it's possible. And I think that she really, really did that, not just from being on the show, but being on the show and winning. And she talks about herself being quirky and different, and not necessarily being, the cool girl, or, saying the right thing, and to show that even that person, that girl, is able to get to the end and win this game. So I think she's a fantastic winner, and I'm really happy that she's representing season 42.
She didn't hide who she was the whole show, and that is one of the keys, I think, to most of the winners on Survivor, is you have to play authentically and be yourself. And definitely, I think that she did. I saw that. I know it's coming. I know it's
We got it now.
We know. I have to say, sorry, I keep saying I have to say. I was part of a pool. I think there was like 12 people in it, and everybody got to pick 3 names of who they thought was going to win. Nobody picked Marianne. Like,
wow.
Like nobody thought Marianne had a chance. I don't know if Marianne maybe because she was young.
She's
I'm wondering
young.
what.
It didn't.
Yeah, but
She didn't seem at that point like she had a lot of strategy. I feel like it was just like happy to be there type vibes,
yeah,
and it just seemed like there was other people that were willing to play. And so,
yeah.
like, I think that
I
I think that even in the
love.
beginning, she didn't think she was like, going to be winning this game.
Yeah,
I don't think that she even thought that that was happening. So,
the right. Like I think like this is a great type of character to win. Like I think she's just got such a great energy. So let's hope for more Mary Ann like people that love the game but are also willing to show us them authentically. And
well,
so,
they're not
yeah.
getting any more Canadians this season,
No.
so maybe we won't get another Marianne type. It doesn't seem like it from the preview of 43. So, lastly, before we close out this season, was there anything from the reunion or like the discussion of the game that you wanted to maybe bring up and chat about? Jeff did get Drea to speak about all the advantages she had at one time, which is a little bit of like salt on the wound here because it's like she didn't win the game and she had all those things. So, Jeff, did you like when Omar was tasked to give an animal to the final three? No,
it's not something that I enjoy. It's not something that like I does. It's not my thing about why I watch the show. I like the game, and
I like
the
them getting pizza and champagne.
Yeah, that's cute. I know it's getting bad a little bit when I think I'm getting a little old and crotchety and grumpy because when they showed the preview before they showed it, they said a commercial like, "Oh, we're going to show you from season 43," and I just blurted out, "Well, why do we need to see it? Who cares? It's just going to be the same thing." Like, I'm like, what did I get out of it? There's no themes, there's no twist, there's no a new location. It's the same show. Like
so, just new people. Yeah.
Just to see the people, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, but we'll see them when they start.
I've already seen the cast list. Like I already got the name drops.
Everybody at this point knows Inside Survivor. We all go to that site. We all know.
Well, that's another thing. Instead of doing all these trinkets, why don't they do themes again? I like a theme. Like obviously I don't want like brains, bronze, blah blah blah, but like if you think of good themes, like I'm down with a good theme. David versus Goliath was a pretty decent theme.
Yeah.
That was a decent season. I think that they should maybe go back to the drawing board on the themes. I think it should be 2 tribes. I don't care for these 3 tribe deals. For the whole pre-merge, it's just like it's too small. I want something else.
Yeah, the small tribes. The problem with the small tribes is, yeah, I get that that's going to make strategy go faster and everything. But when you want like a storyline of, oh, like this person's falling in love with this person, it like you've got to get really lucky that 2 of those 6 are going to have some sort of connection in that way. Like you're not going to get those other storylines of strong bonds building, whereas you might with an tribe of 8 or a tribe of 10 or something. Like though I'm kind of missing those storylines that come out of it, or more of this alliance versus that alliance power struggle.
Yeah,
sort of
like if they want people to be using their shot in the dark, they need to be in 2 tribes. I know they use it a lot more this season than last season, but like if they want it to be used all the time, like you need to have bigger tribes. When your vote means too much, people are not going to risk their vote in order to risk their actual vote. Like for a 1 in 6 shot, who cares? I'd rather take the chance that I'm going to go home because it's almost the same odds. So 17%, who cares? So the other couple things that were talked about, the funny phrases, like Jeff, nobody cares about those funny phrases. It was a bad idea. It just allowed people to know where these idols were, which is sorry, is that me being crotchety?
No, I agree. There's no way that they can ever do it again. If he thinks that the game players are going to be that stupid that they're not going to figure out in season 43, like he ain't going to be able to get away with that. So.
Well, the last thing I want to say is Jeff does describe Marianne as an impressive winner. So do you think that he really believes this? And how do you feel about him saying that? Like, I do think she's an impressive winner for all the things that I've already said. What do you think about what how Jeff feels about her as a winner. Do you think that was truthful? What do you think?
Um, well, I don't know Jeff personally, so
We
I
know him well.
don't
We know him well. We
know.
know his thoughts and
But we
ideas
know
and
him well
opinions.
enough. But you know what? I think that I hope that he does, because I mean, she played very well especially towards the end of the game, like when we got to see her. She did well, and she created also a good story that throughout people were like, I love Marianne, I love Survivor. Like, it, as much as we were like, oh, great winner, she also was a great character for the show. And I think that we're quite lucky that they casted her uh, in this. So yeah, going back to when Visepia won 20 years ago, like that was one of the first times that the winner, didn't get tons of credit. Actually, I think she is the first one who really didn't get a lot of credit. And yeah, the time was different for Survivor, or whatever you want to say. It sucks. I wish she got asked back for Winners at Work, because I know from watching it, she would have wanted to do it. But yeah, I don't. I'm glad that he's being proactive and pushing it. I see Marianne getting a little bit more of a push than maybe Erica does.
Mm-hmm. She's a more
And I
impressive winner,
think
though, than
that,
Erica, in my opinion. Sorry, but I saw
yeah,
her story more. I saw the big moves more, and so I think that it was a more impressive win, in my opinion.
and also I think the problem for Erica, at least, is going to be there's still a lot of people that are upset about that hourglass twist and
Ooh.
that kind of thing. And so, I think that people are like, oh, she got really lucky, whereas Marianne really, I mean, was Marianne really in trouble in this game?
At the Mariah vote on her original tribe.
Okay, right.
And if they ever went back to tribal, she would have been out next.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So Jonathan
Yeah,
saved her game, basically.
Jonathan saved her game. Yeah, thank you,
Wow.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan. You didn't vote for her, but you gave her the million. Sorry.
That's right.
Well, Phil, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for taking on this task of
Definitely.
watching these episodes and recapping them with me for season 42.
Always
Very enjoyable. Do you have anything going on that you want to share with the people? What's going on with Adam and Phil Games? Good Time Games.
Yeah, you can go to Good Time Games with Adam and Phil on Facebook. Reach out to us if you and your friends want to have a games night. We can do them for people anywhere in the world, and we come up with our own games and 2.5 hours of fun games to play with you and your friends. You can play with people not in your city, but around the world, friends that you've made that you want to play games, and we can theme them to anything. If you want Survivor themed, we can always do that. Who knows? But just check us out on Facebook, Good Time Games with Adam and Phil. Like us, and that would be great. And I have had a blast doing this with you. I always love talking with you. And I'm going to miss you because I got to wait till September. I'm like, I don't think we have a show.
Do we have an Amazing Race maybe coming up? Or no, that's in the fall.
I'm going to be busy in the fall.
We could maybe do something like me, you, and Ron for Survivor South Africa. Are you guys caught up with that yet?
Oh,
that's starting soon.
Okay.
That's a maybe.
Yeah.
We could figure something out. Maybe Traders will come out and we could talk about Traders. See what that.
If I get into Big Brother, I might give Big Brother a chance, and if I get into it,
you'll do a night.
Maybe
you'll do like a Sunday.
Maybe do a night or something. Well, maybe yeah. But we'll see. You know me. I have to test it out first.
That's totally fine. It's totally fine. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody here in the chat, and anybody that hasn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We're building a community of people that love talking about reality TV incessantly. Please like this video and let's comment on what do we want to know from these people watching. What do we want to hear about? Maybe.
Well,
I was going to say maybe how you'd rank Marianne as a winner.
Yeah, like is Marianne? Where does Marianne stack up with the other Survivor winners to people? Is she in the top half or the
top, middle, or
where is
bottom
she?
half. I think she's in the. I think for me, she's in the middle. But I would love to hear how people think she up. Maybe other winners. Like, where would she be fit into winners at war if we were to put a couple other winners in there? Do you think that would she play with? Do you think that she could pull out a second win? Like I want to just hear where you think Marianne ranks and falls in line with the other winners that we've seen of this series. Ooh,
and maybe how about did anybody stand out in the preview for next season to people?
Yeah, I don't. People did stand out, but I'd have to watch it again. I don't really remember who they were. But I would love to know if there's anybody that you're excited about. Maybe you've seen the cast list and you want to see how well they do in the game. So yeah, just give us all the responses. We will do our best to answer them all. So Natalie asks us, before we go, what shows are we going to be talking about next? So right now, I'm pretty easy breezy, just talking about the Challenge All-Stars on Wednesdays, usually at 10 p.m. Eastern with Michelle, sometimes Fanta, and the same thing on Fridays with Drew and Chris on the TNT channel as well as my channel. And then I've been doing watch parties with Sarah from Nerdtainment for Big Brother Australia. So that's what I have right now. But coming up, it's going to get quite wild and crazy because I do intend on doing The Bachelorette. I do intend on doing Bachelor in Paradise when that comes after. And then CBS's The Challenge I will be doing for sure. And that could be something that maybe get you into the challenge vibe a little bit, but you'd know the players.
CBS one, I might get into that.
Yeah, that could be something that we cover together.
Love Island coming
back.
Love
Island will be coming in. I believe the UK one starts in June, and then I believe the US one starts in July. So I will definitely be watching both and most likely covering both. So that's what's coming up. But I think I have like a couple weeks of free time. Fun.
Did you watch Drag Race?
I'm up to date on Drag Race. I thought it was a great beginning.
Oh my God, that Snatch game was wonderful. Oh, wonderful.
So good. Drag Race was awesome. Legend season, we were always asking for this, and they did it right. Like, they had the right people that I want to see again. Everybody's super good. I haven't decided yet if I wanted people to be kicked off or not, but at this point, I like the fact that I get to see everybody do everything. So, I'm also recapping Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So doing that on Thursdays at noon. So that's what I got going on. That's it. Not much.
I'm doing Big Brother UK celebrity rewatch of we're doing past seasons. So I've been doing that, but I'm doing this just in my house. I'm not doing this online. But I'm really enjoying it. I love that show.
I do too. I mean, the UK really does it well. They really have great characters. I think the accent is always amazing. And yes, give me as much Big Brother celebrity or regular UK. It's amazing. Well, that's it. Our time together is done. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks for reminding Phil that it's Franz. You guys are the best. We will see you in September. Bye. Bye. See you.